Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to What's the Damage, where I'm gonna tell you guys what the damage is in a certain damage topic. And today the damage is bugs, insects, something that I really hate. I despise with every fiber of my being. I cannot stand the existence of insects. And I'm going to try very hard in the next 10 minutes or so to explain exactly why, beginning with the fact that ever since I was a child I have hated them and I don't really know why. I think maybe it's because it all started with two things, I believe: ants and cockroaches. I think that my hatred for all insects in general began with those two, for the specific reason that when I was a kid, I was playing alone in my room. I remember this to this day. I was still living in the United States. I was playing in my room and I felt something crawling up my leg, and I saw that it was a cockroach, a really big one. And for some reason, even though it was just a cockroach, it really traumatized me. I don't know why. And I kind of sort of got it didn't make me afraid of cockroaches, it just made me hate them, because the first thing that I did was I think I picked up one of my toys or something and tried to kill it. Eventually I did. I stepped on it, and I crushed it with something. I don't know. I remember this to this day, because it made me despise cockroaches, because one, invaded my privacy. When you're a kid, a lot of things make you feel uncomfortable, and that was probably the thing that most got me, because like when you say the word traumatized, you would think that it made you scared of something, and normally it does, but in this case it just made me angry. It just made me really angry. It made me despise not just roaches, but all insects, that resemble cockroaches as a whole. Ants are a different story, Back when I was also a youngster, I used to like torturing ants, not exactly the way that you guys might think, but whenever I saw a really big anthill, because they were commonplace near where I lived in Florida, in Coral Springs, then Coconut Creek, I like to take a really big rock and just throw it at the anthill and see all of the ants going all over the place, I was a very sadistic psychopath when it came to insects, I admit it, and for some reason, seeing all of that really irked me, it kind of, it did scare me a bit, because I kept imagining how much it would suck for all of those ants to be crawling on me, so eventually I stopped doing that, eventually I stopped doing that completely. But the reason that I don't like ants is because they are literally everywhere, and they can manifest themselves in ways that you don't even understand, like food, for example. If you leave food out on the counter for too long, eventually ants are gonna find their way to the food, especially if it's something sweet, and I really hate it, because ants, this is probably the thing that I hate most about insects, big or small, they swarm. And this is the kind of thing that when it comes to bees, I would definitely crap my pants and run 1,000 miles per hour in the different direction, But bees really do kind of scare me, because like I was stung by a bee once in my life and it hurt like hell, I remember to this day, it was on my foot and it really stung. It hurt. So I can imagine like hundreds or thousands of bees stinging you all over your body, And if you're allergic, it can definitely kill you. So I do admit that I am a little scared of a very big amount of bees or insects, like here in South America we have very dangerous ants in the Amazon, here in Brazil, and I can imagine that those ants can do a lot of damage to you if a bunch of them swarm you, Obviously not Indiana Jones Kingdom of the Crystal Skull levels of like swarming and eating you alive. That's impossible, they're ants, not freaking demons, But the thing with ants is that the bigger they are, the harder they are to deal with, The small ones are actually harmless. Ants in general are harmless, but there are the really big ones that sometimes scare me just because of their size. And I can imagine how it would suck to have a bunch of them in one place, swarming all over you, It just, ugh. Now, there are a lot of people who are scared of insects, and I don't blame them, I'm not scared of them, but there are certain insects that do give me the heebie-jeebies, Like cockroaches, I'm not afraid of, I just hate them, and I live in a place where there is such a thing as cockroach season. Like, the hotter the weather gets, the more roaches start to show up. I actually have to keep bug poison at hand at all times, and spray it in my doors and windows so they won't get in. It's some of those things, But the thing is that I had an ex-girlfriend who was deathly terrified cockroaches. You know, it was actually a fear, a phobia, something that happened to her when she was younger. And the thing is that I can understand people who are afraid, you know. I'm just very intolerant. I hate bugs, you know, and I live in the interior of Sao Paulo, you know, and where I live there's a lot of nature and wildlife, you know, not too much, but there's probably more grass and trees than actual civilization houses, you know, so it really sucks, you know. There's a lot of insects everywhere, you know. I don't mind the birds, and there's also this thing, I don't even know what the hell it's called. It's an insect that's this big, you know. I think it's a wasp. I actually think it's a wasp here in my town, you know. I'm not afraid of them. If it's the kind of thing that I'm thinking of, if it's actually a wasp, it's venomous, you know, but it doesn't scare me. It irritates me. Because sometimes I'm just sitting in my room, you know, on my computer, editing videos for YouTube or doing something else, you know, and then one of them just casually flies in, you know, and it's just really annoying. The sound of its buzzing just irritates me, you know, flies especially. So I take my sandal and I whack it, you know, right out the window. And flies also annoy me. Flies are obviously harmless, you know, they don't bite or sting, but it's just annoying, especially when it's one of those big ones where you can hear it buzzing from another room, you know. I just want it to die. I wish I could look at an insect and just incinerate it with my eyes, you know. I wish I had that superpower. But anyway, it's just, and I live in a place where there are two places in the world that's very bad to live in if you don't like insects, which is Brazil and also Australia, which has really big bugs. You know, we have a few big insects here, you know. The more interior you get, the worse and the bigger the bugs get, you know, but I really hate them, you know. And I don't know why. It's even if it's harmless, like butterflies. Okay, I don't mind butterflies. Moths, I'm a little bit more impatient, you know, they're just nasty. Butterflies, I don't mind too much, you know, but I still don't want them in my house, you know. I've gotten to the point where I don't even mind lizards and spiders, you know. There are people who are so afraid of spiders, you know, they almost get sick if they see a spider. I'm not afraid of spiders. There are a few spiders in a few corners of my house, and I actually don't even kill them. You know why? Because they eat the other bugs. You know, so I was actually doing the dishes the other day and I looked up and I saw a spider with a few flies stuck in its web. I just looked at it like, I'm so proud of you. So proud of that damn spider, you know, because it's catching the other bugs that I don't tolerate. So to me, that's awesome. You know, spiders are welcome in my home, you know, as long as they don't do anything to me, you know. As long as it's not a black widow or a venomous one that bites me, you know, then that will be a problem. But aside from that, I'm perfectly fine with leaving the spiders, you know, all over the place. Maybe one will actually bite me and I'll become Spider-Man. My point, guys, is that insects are they're very hateful little creatures, you know, and there are people who, I was actually watching a video recently of the biggest insects in the world, and it's actually, it makes your skin crawl, you know, and there are people who love these things, you know, to the point of like letting them, this huge ass bug, like the size of your hand, crawling on your arm, you know, like, and they just leave it crawling up, slowly up their arm, and God, I hate it so much, you know. And if a bug this big landed anywhere on my body, I'm pretty sure my soul would leave my body, you know. I would definitely have a heart attack and die at that point, you know. And I would never ever try that, you know. Like, it's okay like to go to zoos and see bugs in cages, glass cases, whatever, that's okay, that's perfectly fine. But seeing them out in the wild, like, I am probably like, I would probably be very afraid if I was ever dropped into the middle of a jungle. Not even for like the jaguars or depending on the jungle, you know, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, all of those big animals. You know, I would probably be more scared of the bugs, man, because they are everywhere. You know, especially in the Amazon rainforest. There's ants like everywhere. You know, depending on where you go, and like I'm really afraid of getting swarmed. You know, like a plague of locusts, for example, coming across the land and eating everything, you know. Even if locusts don't really eat people, it's still annoying to see them buzzing all over you, you know. And mosquitoes, I haven't talked about them yet. I hate mosquitoes, I really do. And it actually hasn't happened too much here in Sao Paulo. It's been rare, but when I lived in Rio de Janeiro, mosquitoes were a very common nuisance, and it was actually very common for you to be sleeping at night with the house closed. And I hate this so much. It is one of the things that most irritates me in the world. When you're sleeping in bed peacefully and you hear that buzzing of a mosquito by your ear, you know, it always buzzes close to your face for some reason, you know, and it immediately wakes me up. And maybe this is just me, but I cannot sleep until I kill the mosquito. I have to get out of bed, turn on my lights, and find it and kill it, or else I will not be able to sleep, you know. And I remember to this day there was one point in Rio where I actually managed to kill almost 10 mosquitoes in the course of one night. There were so many mosquitoes in my room. I don't know why or how, you know. And here in Sao Paulo, they're actually not that common. Unfortunately, we have cockroaches, and I don't know which one I despise more, you know. But mosquitoes are very annoying, and depending on the mosquito, they can actually kill you, you know, if they are contracting the malaria disease and they sting you, you know. So yeah, and of course mosquitoes. There's one profession in the world that I would never want to have, which are like scientists who study mosquitoes, right? They keep them in glass cases, but they have to feed the mosquitoes, right? And mosquitoes drink blood. So the scientist puts his arm in the glass case and feeds the mosquitoes. What the hell is wrong with people, man? Yeah, you know, yeah, guys, I think, yeah, you know, guys, I think that's enough, isn't it? I think I've crossed the threshold here, the 10-minute threshold, which is kind of the minimum I make my videos, right? I think I'm okay, I'm very good. I think I've talked enough about this stuff. Just talking about bugs makes me feel uneasy, you know, creepy crawlies, you know, these things. There are countries in the world who actually eat bugs, like in China, for example, and to me, you guys are just crazy. You're just, like, I try really hard to respect different cultures, but to me, the Chinese are just out of their minds, man. It just doesn't make any sense at all how you people work. But whatever, you know, scorpions, you know, go eat your scorpions. I've never seen a scorpion in real life, and I hope never to. Just gotta go to Australia. I'll find a bunch of them. I'll probably find a scorpion the size of my couch in Australia. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I think that's it. I hate insects, all of them. If you love insects, to me, you're a psychopath, you know. If you love insects, please unsubscribe to my channel. Don't stick around, you know, because I'm afraid you're gonna lock me in a room, tie me to a chair and fill it with bugs, the room with bugs, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, I think that's it for now. I think I might stop for today because the sun is going down, so the lighting is gonna be a little worse, you know. I probably should have turned on my living room light, probably should have done that, but okay. I think that's it, guys. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you all in my next video.